Are we ready, Tweaks? Are we live?
Oh, we're ready.
Okay,
Are
we're
we live?
live.
You tell me if we're live.
Yeah, we're live right now.
I knew we were. I knew that was a
What's
rhetorical question.
Chat. I was just waiting for the green light from our Lord and Savior, the Backpack King, the last Cloudia professional. I'm not prepared at all.
Is that what it is?
I don't have chat pulled up. I don't have nothing.
What are you doing?
Just not being prepared is what I'm doing. What's going on, Buddha Gang? Oh, it's been a minute.
My stepsister's here.
Oh, Tweaks' stepsis. He told me she looks like his stepsister, so that's what I titled the live stream.
Not why. We'll roll with it though. We're gonna roll with it.
Yes.
Yeah. Seems legit.
I think it's pretty legit. Ahmad Vember, Violent, Skit, Bullets, Dojo, Diraxis. What's going on, fam? I guess I'm just going to do the thing so I can do minimal editing after the fact.
Good idea.
And say, YouTube, what's going on? It's your boy Buddha, back in the building for another Power Creep podcast. Here with me, I have my co-host, Tweaks.
What's up, fellas?
And that's it, because we have been abandoned by our other two old co-hosts.
They're just busy
in chat. They are busy. They are busy doing real world things, while Tweaks and I are steady just being gamers and playing some Last Cloudia, which got a nice little update. We didn't do a podcast last week because it was just kind of a little itty bitty nothing on
nothing,
on the piggyback of Lennius. But speaking of Lennius, you might think of Zykes, who has a little something to do with who you can see on the screen right now. Introducing Mia to Last Cloudia. Tweaks, what do you think about this girl who's been in the game since what? How long? Very long time.
I don't know, like 15 hours?
Well, yes, as a playable character, but you showed me that she's been mentioned for a very, very long time.
So she's had a couple mentions, and I know a lot of people actually watch stories, so they probably would have already known her name, and probably heard it before. But they showed her in the Zykes unit story like long ago. Her main name was mentioned, so it finally came to fruition that her persona got tied up in story, and then now she's here in the game, which is cool. Which is sick that they're bringing back like stories and people from like people's backstories, right? I like that.
I agree, and especially for a character, I'd say as community loved as Zykes, right? He's just like an interesting dude.
So, yeah, I know. I mean, a lot of people have been very interested in Zykes' background as well, like for a long time, and the Silver Society and all that good stuff. And now even the Phantom Crows. So it's definitely opening up the doors to a lot of different ways they could run story. And I think a lot of people are, especially myself, are getting a little bit. I actually sat down and did the newest story this time and didn't skip everything. So because I'm a big fan of Zykes' and I have been since he came out. I just kind of wanted to find out more. You know?
Yeah, we're definitely we're gonna keep this podcast very spoiler free. Tweaks is a big advocate of making sure we stay spoiler free, and I am as well. So I definitely am. I was surprised when I got a message from you saying like, do story, bro, it's worth it. And I was like, oh dang, he actually read something this time.
I read it. I even paused sometimes to figure out who the heck was talking, because they just hate putting the names above the dialogue.
Oh yeah, well, there's always that issue.
Yeah, pretty cool though. It was a good one.
It does make me wonder, like, how far, again, spoiler free, how far ahead they have had this story written out.
Right.
Because
Zykes' release and his unit story was back over 2 years ago.
Exactly. Like it's very intricate, especially with the way they've taken things, and there doesn't seem to be any contradictions from what I've seen or read. So I'd say the lore, the storytelling is one of Adis's strong suits. I think it's one of the reasons why so many people like this game to begin with.
I think so too.
And yeah, this story update did not disappoint. Again, I don't think we're going to talk too much about it in depth other than just praising it. So
yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was a very nice addition, and it tied in a lot of cool stuff. So definitely some loose ends were tied up, which was nice. But yeah, so we got Mia. Mia is part of the Phantom Crows group.
Yes.
That was alive hundreds of years ago when, Zykes is, if you don't know, Zykes is immortal. So like we have him in the game right now as a DOH being alive and everything. She was part of his group hundreds of years ago, and because she's dead, she she's here now. Yeah, spoiler free, right? But she is gonna be a cool unit to use. She's permanent, so like I think we should start off by saying, is she a must pull? Booda.
I'm making an X with my arms right now.
X. Okay, well, yeah, you're not wrong, dude. Like, for anyone in the game, the only reason you'd ever pull for a permanent unit is A, you really, really like the unit and want to chase her. Or B, you're just a straight up simp. So none of us would ever say, no one in the community should ever say, yes, pull this unit. Like, she's a permanent unit. She's going to be on the permanent banner. She's going to be on every single banner from here on out. You don't need to go after her. Not only that, her arc's also permanent. Like, of course, yeah, they are on rate up now, and you have a better chance of getting them now. But like, if you are a relatively free-to-play player, or even a small spender, there's literally no point in chasing permanent units. And as opposed to, and I guess for most units, even permanent considered DOH, collab, seasonal, if they're not game breaking, we're always going to tell you to just relax, not pull. You only really need to pull on things we don't say pull on if you really, really like them. For me, after using her and testing her, is she a must pull? Absolutely not. No way.
No. And I do want to piggyback off that because I thought of a way to explain this when people ask the question, because it's obviously the same question every time something new comes out.
Yeah.
For free-to-play and budget players, we now have returning value banners in the form of our selector banners. We have our 30K, 30,000 crystal unit selectors, and we have our 15,000 arc selectors. If you don't save your crystals to pull for those and guarantee your accounts those things, I just see it as a very likely way to get shafted continuously and lead to you quitting the game and falling out of love with it. Because when you get shafted enough times, that's just a recipe for many in the past who drop the game at that point. Because you just feel like, what the hell's the point? I can't get anything I ever want. I'm missing all these things. People are having fun. So that's the mindset I try to instill into people. Look for the value banners, wait for them.
Yeah, and permanent units specifically, if you really wanted her or wanted Merrin, once they're on those permanent selectors, they're 15K. Like,
there's 15K permanent.
You could potentially pity this unit for 75K without any luck. Why would you do that?
There's no need for her in a piece of content now.
Absolutely not. Is she fun? Absolutely. I've been having some fun with her. Is she chase worthy? Absolutely not. No, we'll let you know the community will let you know when there's something chase worthy. She is definitely not it.
Yeah, but even then, like the chase worthy, if it's not collab like the most recent Kichijoji, it's just not chase worthy because there is no reason to drop that many pity crystals when they'll come back for less than half of that price.
Less than half, and almost on a ton of banners even if you didn't want to pity.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, I think we're talking in circles. Let's dive into...
Yep. Let's check her out, because she's pretty fun. So just prefacing, my thoughts on her is that, and a lot of other people have noticed, her base caps for her general physical DPS is pretty low. She also has a trait that ramps it up, yes, but is kind of inconsistent. So those are kind of factors that are going to decrease her value a little bit because she just doesn't have the highest DPS. But it doesn't take away from the fact that she actually is a very good enabler for other things as well. It's not all about DPS for her. It's about what she offers in addition to it, which is kind of cool. And that's definitely very useful for units to have, is, you know, maybe not the main DPS in your squad, but maybe as a secondary DPS with some added benefits for your entire team, right? So that's just a quick little synopsis. But she is going to be a soldier. She's a thunder attacker, thunder DPS. She does have 3 skills: Thunderlight Flash, White Standard, Null Rending Flower, and a special in Exquisite Thunderstroke. The S1 is a 7-hitter. It does have like a small little line of sight lunge. It's not bad at all for damage, but her S2 is a very nice standalone AoE. It is also what's going to activate her or ramp up her damage caps and damage potential. So that's going to be one of your main skills in her kit in order to use that to enable herself. But Null Rending Flower is this is definitely her best hitting skill, her highest damage DPS skill, being 17 hits normally, being a gap closer, complete map wide, non-line of sight, and it will push enemies backwards. So if you clump them up, it will push them all at the same time if they're flinchable, which is pretty cool. Keeps them a little bit entertained while you're slapping them in the face. But her special, Exquisite Thunderstroke, it is single target, yes, it is, but it is 60 hits. Now I know it's not the crazy. She doesn't have the craziest caps in general on that either. But it is 60 hits, and you can, if you have the ability to ramp up her special caps and special damage, she can do some pretty nice damage from it. It's nothing going to be game breaking. She doesn't have the benefits of other units that you could ramp up as well, like, you know, the new Alice, or even Swimsuit Alice, or people like Levi, or Loug Zeus. Like, it's not going to be crazy damage, but it's going to be some solid damage from a non-limited unit, from a straight up permanent unit. One of the best specials I think we have on permanent units, besides G Lucio, but that doesn't freaking count. But for damage wise, not bad. I know it's only single target, but it's still pretty good. Better than I was expecting, to be fair. But Tornitrate, the trait 1. This is what I'm talking about, her ramping up her damage, right? When using a skill 2, so this is linked straight up to skill 2. She has a 100% chance of giving herself an Electrify buff. So a 1 level of it. Every time she uses an S2, she gets another buff level. So level 1, 10% damage, 2,000 cap. Level 2, 20% damage, 4,000 cap. Level 3, 40% damage, 8,000 cap. And then magical damage taken minus 50%, excluding earth magic. This is cool, and I really like her getting her to her max potential on her Electrify buff, because it's really useful. It gives you huge damage and big damage cap. The unfortunate part is that it's very easy to lose. As we'll see on Guided Bolt in her trait 2, we'll see you have a chance to actually lose this buff, which is so sad. When physically attacking, chance to give enemy the Lightning Rod debuff. Give enemy thunder resistance minus 20 and boost chance to faint/break plus 50%. Nullify effect when giving another enemy Lightning Rod. So this chance, I don't know the chance of this yet to apply Lightning Rod, but it's extremely high. If it's not 100%, it's damn near close to it, because almost every time I've tested her and attacked the first enemy with any of her physical attacks, she just gives them Lightning Rod straight up.
I was a witness.
What this Lightning Rod debuff does, and I just want to preface this by a little bit mechanic-wise, the first enemy she touches with physical attacks is essentially going to get this buff. You cannot really transfer it to other enemies. So make sure, if you're using her, you're targeting the enemy that you want to give this buff to. That's just something that I found when I'm doing wave battles, and I apply it, and I just don't care about who I'm targeting. Go in, hit the enemies. One random mob squad gets the Lightning Rod debuff, and then I can't apply it to the boss. So just make sure you're paying attention to who you're trying to give this to. But when you do apply this to, I want to say bosses. So this is what you'd want to apply to bosses. you both get a unique -20 thunder resistance debuff, which will stack with all other thunder debuffs, or thunder resistance debuffs, as well as it gives a plus 50% feint and break multiplier. So this is essentially a 50% increased break received by the enemy. This acts differently than increasing your unit's own break. So usually for your own unit's own break, things like Breaker, things like the Agile Axe, things like Destroyer and all that stuff, they increase your own break, which is all additive with each other. But instead, when this is applied onto an enemy, that is effectively increasing 50% of the break that they are taking for themselves. So it's going to multiply. It's a multiplicative bonus on the overall break that you're doing. If that makes any sense. So like, it's a different kind of profile of increasing your break value. That enemy is now taking 50% more break overall. You're not doing the plus 50% break. You're doing 1.5 times as much, which is wild. This effect right here increases the break of the entire team against that enemy. It's not just for her. If the enemy has that debuff, everything that's hitting them is getting break plus 50%. It is the same thing that it's acting wise of the Loug Zeus UR arc, because it does the same thing. It increases taken break by the enemies by 50%, which is in our terms. So we usually calculate all the break with your own break doing the damage, not of course the enemies taking more break damage, but that also affects the taken break damage by 50%. So those only stack additively with each other, the Loug Zeus UR and her debuff, but it's literally the same effectiveness as the passive of that UR, which is crazy to me.
It is.
I don't know. I know break isn't like, the best thing in the world, but like, as someone who uses break very often for maybe world bosses, multiplayers especially, and uses people like Murren, Loug Zeus, many units that can break a good bit, having a unit that's just going to enable the shit out of that even harder is really nice. And then again, this is getting into how awesome she is as a breaking enabler. We don't really have one of those. The only way that we've had them before is the Loug Zeus UR, which also doesn't work against gods. We also have the Tinkili. I think it's the Tinkili special does it. Don't fact check. I mean, you can fact check me on that. I'm not sure if it's actually break plus for your unit or break taken break for the enemy. I think it's break plus for your unit actually. This is only one of two things in the game can massively multiply your break. And this is what I said before about her being maybe not your main DPS. Okay, she doesn't have the best DPS, but if you have someone like Murren, like Loug Zeus, who already has very strong break before, it is a multiplicative bonus. So yeah, she's one of the only units in the game that can enable breakers even harder, which is sick. I don't know. I hope I explained that pretty well because it's pretty awesome.
I'm sure you confused some people, but
probably. And we can just test it a tiny bit.
I was gonna say either in here or if you're gonna make separate videos. Just
oh no, it's 100% going to be in the showcase.
The simplest.
It's tough to explain, but it's essentially she's one of the only two things in the game that can massively boost break as massively as she can.
Yes, I was just gonna say simple logic, like the way she applies her break debuff. Just know it's way better than just our standard break increasing ways.
Yep.
Which makes her super duper valuable. Gave her way more utility than I initially thought she had.
Yeah. It's pretty awesome.
It is.
It's essentially the value of a UR arc.
God, I should find the comment because I did go back and forth with someone in my comments.
Yeah, shout them out. I mean, we were going to test it anyways, but you rolled into chat earlier this stream and you were like, yo, go test this.
Because I was like, if this is multiplicative, cool. Like I remember our initial testings with freaking Loug Zeus's UR arc, and we were like,
holy crap.
If she does that, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah. So now we get into the second part of her trait 2, Guided Bolt. Yes, it's going to, when using skills, hit an enemy that has a lightning rod debuff with a powerful thunderbolt, which is awesome. Basically, every skill she's hitting, it gets an extra 3 damage, or 3 hits on top of that. or 6 dual wield. It is considered a physical attack, the Thunderbolt, that comes down from the sky, but it does double, right? So her S1, 2, and 3 have 7, 12, and 17 hits normally. Now they have 10, 15, and 20. Double that dual wield. She now has 20, 30, and 40, which is ridiculous. But when that Thunderbolt activates, chance to cut electrify buff by level by 1. Shit. Unfortunately, this is an extremely high chance. I really would have to put it at about 50% chance. Every time she uses a skill that's not an S2, or even the S2 itself, her buff has a pretty much 50% chance of going down 1 level, which feels bad, right? Even on her S2, like I've had many times, I'm just spamming her S2. It goes up, it goes from level 2 to level 3, bang. But at the end of the skill, once the Thunderbolt hits, it drops to level 2. I'm just like, why? What's the friggin' point?
Yeah.
I don't love that, but when you're using your S3 and S1, it has a very high chance to drop another level, which means that you'd have to use a skill, be aware of your electrify level, and then you maybe potentially force yourself into using an S2 to get that boost back up. I don't love that. I don't love that the chance is this high. I wish it was like a 20% chance because it would feel less invasive.
Mm-hmm.
But her caps are already pretty low. So without using the level 3 electrified buff, she's not hitting very high caps. Even though she has very nice hit counts and good DPS, she's just missing out for 90% of the battle.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just feels a little bad. So I know that's a big reason why people are disappointed. You could just ignore it, but I feel like she's more of a manual player where you're gonna have to like keep track of that S to spam to keep her electrified buff up. And that's really only if you're going to be using her as a main DPS. Like we've already talked about, you don't have to be using her as a main DPS. She brings value to the team by just being there, generally.
Yeah.
So
I think she's going to age very well in break scenarios.
Enablers always have.
Yes.
And I think that's going to be great.
It's going to keep her around.
She's a permanent unit. Like Murrin and her together. I know someone put it in chat. Oh my god, dude!
Praise the heavens. We're gonna run that in multiplayer, right?
Are we? We can.
Please, I would love to break things. I love breaking. I want to run her and then some persona units.
Jeez. Okay. But yeah, why don't we get into her passives? Right. Let's go to skill cost. Attack up max, heroism up 2, critical up 2, proud force. Some very generic stuff that is great to have on her. Royal armor, 50% less critical hit rate against. Illusion, human slayer, human shield. I feel like people are loving human slayer and human shield. The most of the places that we do see humans is arena. We don't really see too many in like tower, or I mean now I guess with the 4 lord stuff we do, but not more many in tower. It is only 4 of the 16 types. So, like, very powerful in arena? Sure. It's definitely going to nuke a lot of enemies. It's one of the better slayers, yes. But I think people are overhyping this for arena, generally. She's even without this, she's going to nuke the shit out of, like, glass cannon enemies that are not built thick, right? With special boost, this is going to give 100% damage to all of them. Human shield, though, I mean, like, yes, it's going to be minus 20% damage from humans, all damage. But again, outside of arena, it's just like it's not that common. It is still useful. I will give it that. But like, I saw a lot of comments when she was coming out, like, oh hey, she gets human slayer and human shield, she's going to be an absolute menace in PvP. And I'm like, well, there's a lot more to it than that, right? Like, she needs a lot more than just that, just plus 100% damage against humans. We have a lot of really good units nowadays that are not humans at all. I don't know. I wouldn't focus too heavily on that. It's nice that she has 4 slayers, to be honest. That's really nice.
Of course, it's always great. But that's the thing with builds and unit builds. It's never just like one thing that's then the best. It's a combination of a lot of factors.
Hey, you know who else has human slayer? Demordo. You know where he's at? Not that great anymore. So it's just doesn't carry the entire squad. What we're gonna see is where she flourishes is a lot of other places, and I think that's what adds. Auto protection, auto haste, always good to have. I'm surprised she didn't have like auto critical or like crit stuff for her. Besides critical clip 3. So I'm sad she's missing that. Flying Shadow, of course, I gotta love movement speed for free. Had max HP, skill damage plus 20%. Gotta love the max HP stuff. Thunder Drive, Thunder Attack Raise 2, Thunder Attack Raise 3, and Thunder Enhance. You love to see a mono element unit get a ton of attack raises or like, their element boosts. Of course, she's missing Thunder High Drive, but that's on a perm arc. You can snag that. Some good stuff right there. Goddess Kiss on her is actually pretty interesting. She doesn't really have anything to use for MP. I'm not sure. I guess they gave this to her because of her Thunderbolt spam, and it could be because it costs some MP to use if you have the passive one that we'll get to. But she has actually a pretty nice regular attack, especially dual wield. I believe it's 4 single wield, 8 dual wield.
That's quite nice.
Yeah, some nice hitting. Sky High 2. I mean, I don't hate that. You love to see it, just free damage for skyborne enemies or airborne enemies. Less speed, more speed. Piercing, sword high boost and sword mega boost is always nice. Of course, she likes using swords, and you would want to use that. Ultimate boost 3. She has a very high hitting special, and she doesn't have the most amazing mods. So, yeah, that's nice to have. Skill charge 2, quick trigger, Dominal Spirit. Dominal Spirit we've seen on tons of units lately, so this is pretty nice.
I love it.
Back to the wall. Now this is where we get, so I'll put that back on. Back to the wall. Frontal attack damage plus 30%, rear attack damage minus 10%. This is interesting. I think we've seen stuff like this before.
If Kyle.
Some like frontal attack damage. I think it was on like Night Lord Kyle and stuff. And I forget who else, but they encourage you to hit from the front. Now I will say that's nice, but if you have the option to go to the back, surprise attack and backstab are still some OPS damage.
70%, no?
I mean, and you can turn this off if you feel like it. If you're like, I don't really care about this. Yeah. I still would probably use it in a lot of places like Arena, for sure, because things get flipped just to looking at you. But if you were guaranteed to go, rear damage, you could turn this off. I would still probably leave it on. That 10% doesn't matter. The 80% for 6 SC is just stupid for surprise attack and backstab.
You would like rear damage on Mia?
Oh, for Mia, anything. What? Bolt God's Blade. Sword equipped thunder damage plus 30%, damage cap plus 3000. So like sword high boost, sword mega boost, and Bolt God's Blade are all linked to swords. You definitely want to be using her swords. At least one sword. Thunder damage plus 30%, damage cap plus 3000. That's nothing to shake your head at. Plasma Pierce, though, I feel like a lot of people are probably overestimating the effectiveness of this, right?
Yeah.
Physical damage plus 100% to guarding enemies. This sounds amazing. 100% is a big number. Unfortunately, what that means is the damage is doubled. But if your tank if the guarding enemy is already taking 25, 30 damage from your hits, like a well guarded Granatus,
how much do they take, Tweacz?
Take double that.
So
you're gonna take 10 turns into 20, 25 turns into 50. Which is crazy, right? No, it's unfortunately not. If this was physical damage plus 1000% to guarding enemies, we'd be talking 100%. But unfortunately, people that do guard, and maybe this is useful against like those enemies that only have guard on, right? If you are in an arena or in like PvE where they don't have like the massive damage mitigation like most tanks do, or maybe it's like a sorcerer that's guarding, because guard itself nukes the actual damage that they're taking down to 25% of the normal. But most tanks have ways to decrease that even harder and have high defenses. So like, is it that effective? No. This would be, if it was physical damage plus 100% to guarding enemies, or if it was even better, physical damage plus 100% to enemies that have just broken guard, would be nasty.
Would be nuts.
You can imagine that?
Yeah. I'm a much bigger fan of giving a chance to pierce guard.
Yeah, I think a lot of us are, and maybe we're underselling it. Maybe people are right, and it's crazy. But I don't see this being nutty, right? It's just going to it's going to increase your damage, but it's not the most broken thing in the world at all. She still has no way, even her innate kit, she has no way to pierce guard at all, which maybe you wouldn't want, but I feel like you do. You immediately get even with anyone guarding and getting broken from guard, that's an immediate 400% bonus to damage. So, yeah, We could talk about that for a while, but nah. Roll of Thunder, though. It's when the trait Guided Bolt's Thunderbolt activates. Use 2% of max MP to boost Thunderbolt damage. This is those like extra 3 or 6 hits at the end of your skills. Essentially, it's going to boost that damage up by 2% every time. I don't know how much it boosts by. I really haven't noticed a boost, to be honest. Those Thunderbolt is considered physical damage in the first place.
So it's going to be built anyway to hit caps.
It's going to be built to hit caps, but here's the thing. In Arena or places, I don't know the bonus here. It could be like 10 times damage. I don't know.
I got you.
In Arena where things generally are not capping, this massive boost for 2% for like 3 or 6 of the hits could be good. It's definitely something worth trying out. I haven't really used her in Arena yet, so we're not going to talk about her too much there, but it's definitely worth trying out, and I think that's probably the biggest potential where this passive specifically is going to work.
It was a pleasant surprise that it doubles up with dual wield.
It does. It's great. I love it. Damage plus 40% to physically attacking enemies. So this is kind of interesting. I know a lot of people are asking about this. It is kind of self-explanatory, but it's damage plus 40% to an enemy in the middle of their physical attack. So in the middle of the animation of their regular attack or skill, they will take 40% more damage from her. Which, in places like Arena, yes. In the first 10 seconds where most people are using the POWERCREEP Ark to have 10 seconds of flinch resistance, if you hit an enemy while they're non-flinched and in the middle of their skill, you will do 40% more damage. It's not the most effective thing in the world, but for places like Arena, yes, it is going to be good. I don't know. So that's just a little difference of her, I guess. But I don't really want to go over the passes that I've given her. We can go over the build when we get there, but let's talk about her equips. So her paid sword, which we don't have a lot of, are thunder swords. So of course they're going to give us a thunder sword. The fairy sword Petals, physical attack damage plus 10%. Battle start though, restore all skills SCT 20 seconds.
That's nice.
It's basically a free skill charge 1, 2, and 3, and it stacks with all other sources. So you can add skill charge 1, 2, and 3. You can add phone booth. You can add quick trigger, which he does have an 8. That's a lot of SCT at the beginning of battles. As well as continuous brave / speed effect. That's a really good enabling skill for her, or equip for her. Now let's talk about her.
Her what, Tweacz?
Her armor.
Her armor.
Which is an armor, by the way. It actually is pretty nice because you can pair this with things like armor boost and armor high boost for mitigation.
Oh yeah.
So you can make her very tanky, which is cool. And her single wheel damage, as much as I hate single wheel generally, her caps are not that high on dual wield. So like if you had this on her and it gives 5k caps of thunder attack damage, like it's not the worst thing in the world. I know Buddha, you still hate it. I know a lot of people still hate single wielding. But she can be made pretty tanky because it is an armor. It also has continuous regeneration effects. Actually, stat-wise, she has some really nice strength. Not the highest defense in mind, but really nice strength for an armor. Continuous regeneration effect. Cut all damage taken by 10%. And gives a thunder attack damage cap plus 5,000, which will affect all of her physicals as well as special. I mean, it will also affect thunder, magic, and arc skills. But like, that's not really that necessary. But her special gets a nice cap from this. I don't know. If I had to pick one or the other, I'd pick the sword 100%. It's just the armor's not terrible.
I'm happy you said the sword.
100% the sword. Dude, what you can't... there's a lot of situations where we're like 20 seconds of SCD on every single skill. Sheesh.
I don't want you to encourage people to single wield with her, bro.
I'm not, but she is not bad. She's tanky. I just like, if you have, here's the thing, single wielding, right? If you have all the things like favorite sword and doppelhander boost, feel free. But if you're sitting there single wielding and having like 20k caps overall, don't do that. Like, you know what I mean? Just dual wield and get the 35k overall.
Have anything under 45k single wield caps, I don't want to see your Mia in multiplayer. I don't want to see it. I'll quit the lobby. I'm gonna waste
she just doesn't have the innate cap boost that a lot of other units have, and here's the thing, she's not forced either way. You can use either way. You're not losing anything by dual wielding or single wielding. But dual wielding for her just has the most potential, of course.
But Yeah, never mind. Let's keep moving on. I gave my statement.
That's all good. I'm gonna be using this stuff on her. I know actually I have to switch this because I'm not using a machine, but she's pretty fun. Her skills are definitely very fun, and like we talked about before with her traits. Why am I friggin' blanking on what I want to give him there? Thank you. Like we talked about her traits and the way her electrify buffs work. She's a good unit. She's just nothing broken for physical DPS, right? Like,
yeah. Oh, do you want?
She's a good perm unit, which is like, what are you gonna do?
Do you want to save like further thoughts on her until after the showing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna go into here and check her skills out because they're pretty fun.
Yeah. I mean, her, like we said, the utility she provides, I think, is gonna age very well. And just the way you have to think about this game is different when you want, if you want to play with the mindset of becoming an end game player. We have the Maze of Tartarus introduced. She's gotta be so freaking good for any floors that are weak to thunder, especially since we're lacking on thunder units. It's no longer like compare this unit to the toppest of the tier. Yeah. Because you can't take the toppest of the tier and clear all 20 floors of maze. And that is the end game of Last Cloudia. So if you don't want to live in the modern end game of Last Cloudia, then by all means use the old way of judging whether you value having certain characters on your account. But in the new age, you need a fleshed out roster, and she's an incredible asset as a thunder unit.
%.
So
she's very fun. She's just not broken, which is, I think, what people. It's fun. It's a funny line between people wanting power creep and then wanting things to be not broken and broken, right? It's just very weird.
It is. The gacha space is filled with the most interesting ideologies and psychology dynamics that I've ever seen.
It is pretty funny. Is she doing any good break damage to actually benefit from the boost? You know what's funny? Yeah, if I build her for full break, she can do some pretty awesome break, to be honest. And we'll test that in a little bit because I think that's one of her physical DPS overall is not something that I'm like crazy about. What did I give her? Oh, I gave her a Donna Coliseum. I wanted to show her regular attacks. So I did give her paid sword, which is thunder. I did give her a machine, which is the bolt cannon Grenadiris, which is a thunder machine. So she will have double hits of thunder, and she has an 8-hit regular attack on dual wield. It's a lot. That's a lot of spots to hit. Like, look at this: 354, 354.
Those are big. Yeah, those are beautiful.
Okay, she's in a little slump right now, but you'll see it.
350. Good golly in heaven.
Goodness gracious.
Great. That is wonderful.
So if you want to use her as like an MP battery for stuff, right? If you have the stuff to use as an MP battery, you can absolutely do that. Not many units in the game have this high of a hit count on regular attacks, honestly. Most have 3, aka 6 dual wield. That's an extra 33% boost to that. Crazy.
No doubt.
So you saw her skills before. We saw her regular attack. I guess we could see the special. I don't really feel like boosting it that high just because so I'll just actually mention the highest I got it was like 60k caps. With all the boosting, that's like a level 10 Eldravana, Roland, Sarah, all the boosts in her kit. It was 60k or 55k, somewhere around 55k or 60k, and it's 60 hits. So you're looking at 3 million damage, which is nothing to shake your head at. But that is all of the stuff. You will not have, most people do not have all of the stuff, or like 99.99% of people do not have all the stuff to do that. So I'm just not going to show that.
No, that's impressive. I thought it was closer to 2 million.
Okay.
Because I didn't watch you do the full realization.
You didn't see it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you can guess that
3 mil single
the
target,
things hit very hard.
I'm not mad at that.
No, not mad at that at all. Yeah. For but that's a lot of investment for it, right? It's not going to just be like, oh, I'm going to nuke everything in the game with 3 million damage on an alt. No, it's just...
Well, yeah, I mean...
not how it works.
Just being single target alone...
Yep.
Hampers that.
So why don't we look at her break? How about that? We'll set her up real quick. I'm going to use a full break setup.
Are you going to do
that means
before and after?
Psychic Guild with 3 allies who are not her type, right?
Yeah.
We're going to bring in Pockle, because he's the homie. Loug Zeus UR does not work here, but I'm still going to bring it. I'm going to bring the Theopolis Ark. And I believe I wanted to bring Sarah.
You want to bring Tink?
Was it Tink?
Tink gives.
I don't want to bring the special at all, honestly.
Not. Oh, you have to do the special for the break.
Yeah, I don't want to do the special at all.
Okay.
So we'll set her up. I need. You know what? We don't even need that. We'll do axe equip. Axes are the best breaking things in the game because axe high boost gives you break as well as the best axe in the game gives you break. We want axe high boost. This is cool, very cool. And then we want there and breaker. Oh, unfortunately, we'll get to the arc, but this one with breaker is just not very good. So sorry for the heads up. Eesh.
But I mean, you don't think it's still worth it if you're going full break build?
It will be.
Oh,
but it's only affects physical attacks. Not for me though. I'm usually doing dual wield.
You're dual wielding, which immediately, yeah. I mean, they messed up with that.
No, I could do a little bit more break, but I'm sacrificing a hell of a lot to add the Iron Pipe Sphere, which gives me 50% more.
Yeah.
I don't want to sacrifice my sword for all that cap and damage. Yeah. I'm still going to be using a sword. But this is kind of just a go-to build right here. I have Axe High Boost. I have the Axe. I have Breaker. I have There, which is they're going to be weak to. Should make sure I have Gaze at the End on. I do not, so let's put that on. They're going to be weak to Thunder, so they're going to get extra added 50%. And I'm going to be targeting the very first enemy, or the boss, in order to get that Lightning Rod debuff on.
There it is.
And
first hit,
you see the debuff on there. It's just so quick, right? I'm actually going to do. Do I want to hit him only? No, I don't. I want to hit them all. Let's go like this. His S3 is going to be her S3 is the biggest break skill. But look at the break bar.
That's nice.
That's a lot of break in all seriousness.
I didn't call you out. I was gonna say do before and after the debuff, but you can't really.
It would just be 50% or a third of that, or 2/3 of that total.
That's what I'm saying. It's I don't know.
The debuff is huge.
It is.
It's easy to see this if you've ever done this map before, and using like a break Murrin. So why don't we just go look at the break Murrin and see his break values? Just the same exact build.
I was gonna say you can just plot Murrin on this team.
Murrin.
Oh, you're gonna compare side to side. But also,
if I just do this and then axe, and I'm pretty sure everything else is. I don't really need the damage. I'm pretty sure I have full break on him anyways. Let me just double check for there, and then we'll be good to go. Yeah, I need to put that on.
Yeah. And I just want to remind that this isn't these are not exclusive things. Like he's comparing just so you can see Mia and Murrin, but if you run them both on the same team
with both breaking,
both, well, even just her debuffing to enable Murrin.
Yeah. So this is without that debuff on. This is just Murrin's base break. That you can see that okay. So we'll Theopolis, and then we're gonna nuke the boss. And watch the break on the S3 because it is a lot. It is a lot.
Watch it.
But it's not unheard of to do this against. It's about so his S3 did about 50%. So did hers.
He's such a god. He does it a little quicker. He does it a little quicker.
Well, he kills the entire friggin' thing.
Yeah, but I'm saying he gets through his skill stock a little quicker as well.
Yep, not wrong. Couldn't even break before killing.
So now imagine the debuff with that.
50% more.
So good. We're going to do it. We have to do it. What bosses are available?
I think it's Marda.
Beautiful.
Which I don't love for her, but
it doesn't matter for her. I'm saying bring you know what I want you to bring. I want 2 jokers and those 2.
I'm bringing Murrin and her.
I was going to bring Murrin, but fine.
We can both bring Murrin. It's okay.
Both bring Murrin.
The thing about this boss is that the break is very low.
It is.
Like the break bar.
It already goes down very quickly, but that's what I'm saying. Like usually I think it's 2 Murrin S3s break the boss.
Yeah, usually.
Yeah.
Oh,
this is gonna be nasty.
You want me to bring that?
Set this up.
Damn.
Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on.
I'll bring Joker then. Do you want to do this?
Yes, please.
I'm only paying attention to your break anyways, so
we have to do a little bit of like thinking.
All right, you can go add me since you're off.
Yeah, I'm doing the thing. Sorry.
Yeah, do the thing. It's okay.
I gotta build the.
I'm gonna bring this.
Build the peeps.
Of course. I guess I'll bring her.
Not that we don't bully Marda enough.
Yeah, I know, dude. It's just, it's pretty funny.
It is.
Let's do Solaris. Why not? Let's give you. Ooh, you don't have anything here. Rip. Yeah, sure. She's not going to be able to hit very hard with this because I'm not going to have the right damage on her, but she's there for the debuff.
Yeah, she's not. It doesn't matter.
It really doesn't matter, I know. Let's do that. Nope. Pirate's Feast, yes. I really don't care what else is here. All right, okay, that's fine. I just need Pirate's Feast. Okay, Dragon Slayer?
Yep.
We're good to go. Weird.
Who do I... All right, hold on. Sorry. No, why the hell do
Did you add me?
No. I'm still building characters.
Okay, well...
It's gonna be okay, man.
Hold on, 1 second. I'm finding the thing.
Whatever. He'll do. He should be just fine.
I added you. So I'm going to go in here and do friends only.
Cool. There's one down. Let's get a Murrin in here. Okay. So because we're both running Murrin, I should just
I'm not running Murrin.
You're not running Murrin.
Nope. We're going to see your break.
Oh, that's right. We're double jokering. Okay, perfect.
I'm also using Loug Zeus as you are. Just throwing that out there.
Yes, so am I.
So things are about to get aggressive.
It's gonna be. I'm excited. Oh, this is gonna be amazing.
Mm-hmm. And after this, we should definitely move on to the Ark.
I know. Oh, dang it. I'm cracking under the pressure. Tweacz, talk about something, man.
Okay, well, Joker's really good when things break. If you guys didn't know that, Treacherous Intent's pretty good.
Oh, God. Oh, because I have it under favorites. Hold on, we're almost
struggling.
There, we're almost there, everyone.
Let's double check the thing.
I wish I had Murrin's paid. I'm such a scrub.
Yep, I would agree.
Oh,
I would absolutely agree.
Okay, I can do this because we just care about his break. Yes, beautiful. There's that.
Fine.
Oh, we're almost there, ladies and gents.
Man, you had this whole time.
Well, the problem is I had Murrin built for DPS. I messed up.
Yikes.
I know, bro. Okay, those are those. These are these.
Who's excited for that summer unit coming out soon? I hope.
That should be the next drop.
It should be
according to the last Cloudia annual schedule.
Should be 2 weeks from now.
Buddha.
I hope it's Shift Leona. Still, I'm holding on to it. I know, dude.
That should be enough.
Double ice claws, bro. Double ice claws.
Okay.
She's upgraded to two weapons. Or just has like an absolute obscene amount of single wield damage. I'm okay with either.
I'm fine if she's dual wield. That'll make.
I'm fine if she's single wield and has like 100k caps. It's
That's cool too. I'm not mad at that. The single wield meta has definitely transformed.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. This is fun though.
You are. I got it. I'm coming, my friend. I'm coming, Mia.
Easy.
What? It's because you have her in your party.
Booda.
I'm here. It's okay. We're ready.
Did you really bring another Joker? Jesus.
Are you gonna do the treacherous?
Yeah, I'll do the treacherous, but
what?
Yeah, just don't do an S3 until we're all like everything's.
Yeah. I know. I'm gonna be patient. I promise. So, I'm very curious.
You did absolutely no damage there.
What do you mean? Murad is not built for any damage of any kind.
Why?
Well.
You just had him for the break stuff, then.
I got you straight break. All the break.
Uh-huh.
Are we here? Oh, it's the boss stage. I'm nervous.
Why are you nervous?
Just tell me when to go.
I'm just spamming this button. I gotta click Treacherous Intent, and then we're good to go.
Do it.
And it's up, and you're good.
Here we go! Yeah. Wait!
Oh my god, dude. That's like 10 million health, by the way.
What happened? Oh, I'm so glad.
We had 2 Loug URs and the friggin' debuff, dude.
And Psycho.
Overkill much?
No. It's perfectly balanced.
Come on. Oh man.
What happened to the break bar?
It wasn't even. I don't think it started out. Anyways.
That was great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, anyway. I'm glad you had fun. So I don't have my SSR Ark to level 10, so we're gonna go into the gacha and check it out there. Recommended.
Let's talk about it.
Phantom Crows, which is sick art, by the way. I think that's probably one of the most talked points about in the entire community today.
Dude,
has been all of the cool units and stuff that people want in the game.
Is it spoiler to say that they've introduced, like, they have just extended Last Cloudia's life with this
I don't know if these are all going to be units, but they have the option to, right? Like, there is lore on the Ark that mentions all of their names, which is cool. They are named characters, so.
And they have a couple.
Could they potentially be units in the future? Sure. I just feel like the art wise and art choice wise, Mia and Zykes are the absolute focus of the group, right? The other ones are just like kind of they're kind of like neutral colors, kind of just like add-ons, in my opinion.
Dude, if they don't put that Kakashi axe wielding dude in the game, that's criminal.
And if you guys do pull this Ark, or like know someone who has the Ark with a level 10, there are the Ark lore is pretty cool. It tells you all about each of them. So definitely go read that if you get the chance. Sick art, sweet lore. I really like that they tied the Ark into this new story that's what's happening, and they're both of their backstories, right? It's pretty cool. But as for the details itself, pitiful MP, of course, as is tradition. High strength. Not bad. The trait itself is going to be okay, right? It is specific to sword equipped, physical attack damage plus 20%, but it does give battle start chance to give all enemies blind, which I really like. Anything that's going to give or chance to give the entire enemy team ailments for that like instant Terramouth proc is sick. To immediately enable all of your units to get Terramouth bonus damage. Like, that's nice. I mean, we have things that stack with that, like, or independent chances of that with, like, Gaze at the End. We have the Subaru's Metia. We have the Toxaband from the Summons Beast event that just happened. Like, very, very cool to get that on an arc again. And there's also other arcs that have this, as like certain types of this as well. It's just nice to have on a very good offensive arc. And then boost strength based on number of incapacitated allies. Max plus 60%. Assumingly it's 20% per unit that's incapacitated, and it's while they're dead. So in a lot of situations, you're probably better off keeping your allies alive. But if you had to, like, and were forced to go kill off all your allies, yeah, you could get 60% more strength, which is a very large value. It's hard to ignore that because you really could, if you were fighting a solo battle in harder content and just want an absolute crapload of strength, you could bring in like 3 really weak units, pretty much set them all to die, give them like no HP, and then once they're all dead, you get 60% strength. Like, that's... Or you could kill them off. Like, I know the near units, you can kill them off immediately. We have ways to instant kill units, like the Cursed Ring strats that we have.
I'm sure.
Or Soul Spark people. Like, if you wanted to, you could.
Have you done a Sheeta? You think Sheeta STR flex would work here?
I don't do the in-battle stuff anymore. I don't even know what it could possibly be, but that's probably a lot.
I want to see him over 10K.
I don't know about all that. But anyways, I mean, wait, what do you mean over 10K? In battle, we've got him to like 25K, 27K, something like that.
Oh, maybe pre-battle. So yeah, it wouldn't
pre-battle. Yeah, it wouldn't work out too well.
I see.
But learned skills are actually pretty nice. Some interesting stuff in here. Backstab, of course, is nice to have on another arc. It is a very good skill, and not surprising it's on this arc, to be honest. Wrath, though, I have not used this yet, but I do see the potential of interesting strategies, right? The ability to give yourself a, let's say, ailment. It is an ailment, rage. So will enable you for other skills in the future that like are activated when you have ailments, or units that get boosts when you have ailments. There are ways to force your allies to die, so you can use this in interesting ways, I think. But what rage does, it gives you plus 20% strength and minus 20% defense while it's active. And it's pretty much incurable by like all standards, by any cure-alls or anything. So it is going to give you the most longevity for afflicting yourself with an ailment. And you do get some offensive boost, but some defensive, like, you make yourself worse. Blind Research, though, cool. Don't really care about that. One Blade Breaker, though. SC7. When only one weapon is equipped to greatly boost physical attack break. What's unfortunate about this is that when you increase your break, it is additive in most situations. This, Lake told me earlier that he thinks it's a 100% boost to break, which is cool. I love that. But unfortunately, even if you stack up all the break that your unit has, dual wield is going to be infinitely better. Now, for the units that do not have the ability to use dual wield, like Shift Lanceville, who is technically one of his main things is being a breaker, this will be useful on him. Is his break going to compare and, survive the test of time with a lot of other units that have break? No, it's not. So until we get a unit with absolutely massive break, and this is going to additively enhance it by a ton, and who their base break by a ton, it's just not that crazy, because dual wield by itself is multiplicative and boosts all break by double. This is only an additive plus 100%. So stacking with things like Breaker, Destroyer, Axe High Boost, Gilleld Axe, or the Iron Pipe, like it's not doubling any of that. It's only adding to it.
I'm gonna try and give an explanation. I might fail completely.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, in case anyone is confused, additive break means if you start out at 100% break, and you have breaker that gives, as it reads, plus 50%, you now have 150% break. And let's say they're single wield, so now you give them this one blade breaker, which now puts them plus another 100 to 250%. Versus a multiplicative increase in dual wield, the same unit, you give breaker, now it has 150%. With dual wield, you multiply that by 2, pushing it to 300%. Right? So that's pretty close, 250 and 300. But there are other ways to add break. So at the end of adding all of the different break skills, you then multiply it by 2. And when you start doing that math and comparing where you end up with and without dual wield and that times 2 multiplier, it paints a very, very clear picture of which is superior currently.
Thank you for explaining
How did I do?
You did great.
Thank you.
I agreed with it 100%. Yeah, so it is good for single wielders, and maybe we'll have in the future an even better single wield breaker. But for now, not ideal. Auto critical, sure, nice to have. I don't really care about it. I'd put it on anyone, to be honest. Fast Grand Brave. This is the first time we've seen a Fast Grand Brave in here. SC 7. 7 SC for 35% strength boosted in the first 40 seconds. I don't love it, of course. It's just most situations I don't feel the need that I would have to have a Fast Grand Brave over a Fast Brave for 2 SC. Right? That extra 15% strength doesn't always make a huge difference. Most of the time it doesn't make a huge difference.
You can get a lot more out of 5 SC.
Right. Yeah, you absolutely can. So Wrath and One Blade Breaker are definitely the most interesting things on here. Everything else is kind of like, okay, it's there. Arky the Reward, though. Phantom Crow Ruby. This is interesting. It is nothing crazy, though, I don't think. HP, MP, Defense, and Mind are like it. Cut damage taken 7% per incapacitated ally. So this is only while they're dead. It's not going to be like, oh, my units died. They're revived. Now I get that full 21% bonus forever. No, it's only while they're dead. It is a large bonus, though. If you're the last unit alive, a 21% damage cut for all damage while everyone else is dead is kind of sweet. But in most scenarios, you're going to be wanting to keep your full team alive. I don't know. I don't see it being huge value. It also doesn't have any attribute resist or ailment resist, which would have boosted it in my mind. But yeah, an okay SSR AER. It's not really going to make the cut for my plug and plays for any kind of tank. I don't know. Cool art though. Very cool art. Very cool lore. So, and actually good passive if you had to use it.
We do play Sword Cloudia.
We do 100% play Sword Cloudia.
But yeah, that's who was introduced.
So we have Lennius event just ended, right? So we had some cool stuff in there. Now we have the new event. We also have the Tower of Trials that just came up. So make sure you guys are going to floor 100, getting that extra UR extend for your UR arc if you've gotten there. Because you can get it every single time you do it. So definitely go to floor 100. But the event itself. Oh, before we get into the event, I want to talk about what's here. Make sure you're doing this stuff every day. I know for people who don't have a lot of souls or who are just newer playing the game, this soul field gives, for one time playing it, once a day, gives 300,000 blue souls and 30k red souls. For one wave. Once per day. Make sure you're doing this, because it's really, really nice. But as for the event, now on to the event. The Crows Prelude. Assuming this is Prelude, I feel like we'll have more Crows events in the future. I don't know if you agree with that. I don't know if it suggests that, but I really hope we do, because all these units look pretty cool. But Mia, this is essentially the Mia event. And we have, the very classic normal and hard stages, which do give some story in them. So make sure if you do enjoy the lore, make sure you're checking that out, as well as the extra challenge. So the extra challenge is linked to the Ether coins. The Ether coin chance box is a kind of way of doing our trading shop, where you need a certain amount of coins in order to even, do random draws and fill out these step-by-steps in order to get to the end and get it all. Snag all the items and stuff, which is fine. It's just a different kind of event. But to get the most amount of your Ether coins, you're going to be wanting to do stealing on boss waves. You're going to be wanting to do these extra challenges for tickets that you get from the normal events that you do steal from. And then the bonus challenge event, which you can do once per day, also gives you a nice amount of tickets. So check it out. Mission rewards, though, is kind of cool. I'm gonna do the event. So the coolest thing about these is that we get rate up tickets, right? For perm events, all of these tickets that you get to use do have rate up on both the unit and the arc. So even if you didn't want to pool, you still get at least 10 tickets or one multi worth of rate up for free. If you want to spend no gems, you still have a shot at getting her or the arc, right? It's slim, but you have a chance. And then we get mega clusters, souls. We do get one of these worldly radiances from the point system, as well as a nice little sword to get. We actually get 2 worldly radiances from this event, which is sweet because she does cost a worldly radiance. We get one from mission rewards, and we also get one from the high difficulty challenge that's coming in the second week. So a nice little boost to us, really. Congratulations, us. We get 2 worldly radiances because those are essentially the rarest, not the rarest ones, but the most requested ones from overall on the units. I still need like 15 or so to max out all my units, which is crazy. So I'm glad we're getting an extra one here for the one that we spent to max her out. But the event's fun. I like it. I don't really want to spoil it all because, you know, the Mia, Zykes, Phantom Crows stuff is very interesting. To me, it's one of the more interesting storylines that I've seen. I don't know. Pretty cool.
It's definitely really awesome. And it ties into the main story.
They did such a good job of things that have been around for 2 years and tied it all in.
Mm-hmm.
You'd love to see it. I mean, this story update, I just want to say again, this story update was probably my favorite that we've ever had. We've gotten so much cool new stuff. Things were tied on, or, you know, loose ends were tied up, and some really cool cliffhangers for the future. So,
yeah,
I don't know.
I'm really sad I didn't live stream it because, you know, I try to be a little animated in front of the camera for viewer pleasure. Mm-hmm. But even off cam, I was like full Buddha reaction.
Bro, that was cool. I mean, like I told you, like this was one of the first times that I've ever actually sat and yeah, I clicked through it. I'm not sitting there and watching every single thing play out because it's like 15 minutes per.
It is long
per cutscene. Yeah. But I still read it all and watched it all, which was pretty cool.
You saw the.
I know lore guy, so I really enjoyed Zykes' introduction, or not introduction, but the way they went about it. Also, can we just continue to talk about how Kyle just one-shots everything in battle and he actually sucks as a character? I don't get it.
Bro. They do it on purpose.
I'm just gonna spoil one of the very first parts of the story, which I don't mind spoiling, is that I think it's like Ardeen and Leona are sitting back and Barcelo are sitting back and watching Kyle like one shot shit, and they're like, "Oh my god, he's just built different.
Yeah,
he's just so much better than the rest. He's like almost a god. And it's like base Kyle, and they're just listening. I'm like, what is going on here?
Doing. They know.
They're memeing on it so hard.
I also, again, this is not really spoilery, but I loved. There is a part where, in the story, you have to climb up 100 floors of stairs, quite literally, and they did such a good job because I think every member in the community complained about it when the last story update dropped, and so that was the first thing in this update was the characters talking about how they're not fucking climbing up those stairs again. And it was just such a good, like, homage to the fan base. It was pleasant, man.
They're definitely doing a very good job about the storytelling and keeping the community in mind.
I did, I sent out a tweet that was, like, about this story update, and it was the Shia LaBeouf, like, intense clapping.
I did not see it. That's pretty good.
It was a good one. Go follow me on Gang Buddha Twitter if you haven't already.
Well, what's left, Booters?
I mean, without talking about details in story, did you get all of like the extra little goodies that you could pick up?
There was a lot of stuff, right?
Yeah,
a lot of stuff.
There's a couple things.
There's a ton of good amount of chests, good amount of little side quest things that you could do.
Yep.
Just click everything that you see on the map, pretty much.
Yep, you got to do a little searching. I'm sure that someone will put out a little graphic showing where to get the most recent chests. And I know there was like a couple accessories I noticed and a new little light sword. Did you pick up from the treasure guy?
I did. Just note to everyone, we now do get 18 out of 18 in that collector house. So like if you're missing some, there are chests to be found. Which is I think good to know because that is now filled, which is cool.
Yeah, pretty crazy that they added a third map location for us to go to.
Hey, whoa. But
what?
Yes.
That's not too
There
bad.
is another. There's more maps. It's a very nice story. So definitely go do that. Check it out. There's some cool boss battles too with some interesting mechanics that we haven't seen before.
For sure.
I know there's one boss in here that gave a lot of people trouble. Or
yeah,
like
I saw that.
People couldn't figure it out. I think I saw one guy took 2.5 hours to beat it because he didn't know the mechanics. Which as you can assume what happened in that battle.
Yeah.
There was a lot of damage of ones.
Uh-huh. That's interesting. Yeah, I guess. I don't know. It's once you learn enough cheesing stuff, just things become a lot less difficult.
But yeah, story was cool. We got some really cool characters, so pay attention to the characters that are getting dropped. Because we may see them as units in the future. Who knows? There's some really good. Their art and design, their pixel design has always been top tier.
Yep. No, I mean shoot. I don't have anything else besides from things we already mentioned. How you said we have the second half of this update bringing like a high difficulty thing, and then we're expecting the summer unit come the end of July. So that'll be hype. Those are things to save crystals for just because seasonals are pretty limited. Although we know that they return on selector banners as well. So again, it's really just save for those value banners when you're asking if you should pull or not as a free-to-play budget player. And then in terms of Mia, right, I guess we can talk because I will say I can't help but get a little irked when I get comments comparing anything to SBeyland.
Yeah, I don't get it. I think we all understand that SBeyland is literally one of the best units in the entire game.
If you use SBeyland as your comparison metric, you're gonna be bored. You're gonna get disappointed. And the problem I have with SBeyland is he's going to give a ton of players a false sense of what a unit should be. Does that make sense?
Why is that, Buddha? Because he's so much better than almost everything. Oh my god, he's so good.
I used him to basically just lawnmower through this story update. And the entire time I was just thinking, this guy is so unnecessary. He is so unnecessary for this game.
I actually, it's funny you say that. I started out with Baylan too. The second battle of the news story, I was like, I'm not using him.
You literally just because he was.
I went off. I went and used Murren and Lennius and Mimtheria, and had fun with it. It was great.
And that's fun, and that's a good way to play the game. Like, Bayland is gonna make people think that they're better than they are at building units. That's the problem. Because
he's just like caps.
He's just a cheat code, man. He's just a freaking cheat code. So, I guess like that's what someone had left a comment that like was comparing Mia to SBeyland, and I can't remember what I put, but then someone else followed up with a comment of saying like you're essentially comparing apples to a nuclear weapon. You're gonna set yourself up for disappointment.
You know what's hilarious about this, Buddha? Is that in let's say 2 years from now, when the power creep has just been obliterated, right? And SBeyland is no longer even in the realm of top TPS. Okay, if that ever friggin' happens, right?
Long live last.
You know what makes people makes you use units and make them last is niche things and different mechanics, right?
Like what?
Or enabling as supports. SBeyland as a unit alone by himself is one of the most powerful units in the game right now.
Right now.
When that is not true, what does he have to offer you? He has a charisma. He has ability to break guard pretty damn well, but that's about it. Doesn't have a huge effect on the overall gameplay. things like Mia. While her DPS will be absolutely deplorable by that time, if Balin's on the picture, she's sure as hell not. But what she does have is some interesting debuffs and some enabling of certain aspects of the game. Yeah. So like, every unit is very good in their own niche. BeyLand is just generally one of the best units in the game in almost all scenarios. But when you need them, such as units like Mia, even units like Shift Goroth, who has a crazy enabler, units like Expet enabling, like, those are what's going to last, and they're going to complement your mainly used unit so well.
Yep.
And it's cool. Like, and that's why power creep's cool and everything, but this is why we love using enablers, supports, people that are going to enhance other units, enhance your gameplay. Yeah. I don't know,
exactly. Because when, like you said, 2 years from now, when the normal single wheeled cap is 100K, BeyLand's not going to look like anything crazy. However, when Mia can turn your 1,000% breaker into a 1,500% breaker, you're going to run her on the team. Similar to how someone who does deplorable damage, but I think you and I run her constantly, is Tinkili.
All the time. She's one of the best enablers in the game for physical damage. Easy.
Yep. You know who we don't run anymore?
BeyLand.
OG BeyLand. Who was once a god. But.
Yep.
You know,
hindsight. I see a mod in chat saying it's talking about Gen. Gen is over a year and 15 months old, let's say. 16 months old. And he's still one of the best units in the game because of his longevity and supporting and enabling and all that kind of stuff. Like, she's... And you know what? Here's the thing. She's a perm unit. You don't even have to care about her right now. If you get her a year down the line, she's going to be your break enabler. Like, it's just what she does best. That's her best facet, in my opinion.
Yes.
She might be very good in arena right now. She might be a solid physical DPS in PvE, but those things don't always last. I mean, we used to use Zuglis way back in the day, 2.5 years ago, as one of the best PvP units in the game. Guess where he is? Not one of the best. Like, not even close. Power creep is always going to happen, but enabling and using mechanics to your advantage will not go away.
That stands the test of time. It's why Spirit Maiden Tyria is still amongst the top rated on the tier list.
Yeah. And you know what the funny thing is, people talk about Roy. What does Roy have to offer? Generally his damage, right? And his single target damage has already fallen off heavily. Mm-hmm. His AoE damage is still there, but that's going to fall off, right?
It will.
If he doesn't have anything else to offer, it's going to fall off.
Yeah. And I mean, yes, he has lasted so long, I would say. Obviously, his DPS is still there, but just because of his AoE coverage, like his ability to wipe waves the fastest in multiplayer, just to obliterate the entire arena map, right? Like, we haven't had an equal to that yet, so that keeps him around, and that is utility.
It's utility. It's quality of life. It's great.
It's
cute. But once that gets power creeped,
right.
First of all, scared to see what power creeps at.
Right.
But once it does, it's gonna be pretty cool to see.
Yeah,
and it's going to be like make other units just completely irrelevant, which is.
Yes. So it's interesting. Hindsight is always 20/20, and of course you have to enjoy the here and now, right? Like, Last Cloudy can shut down in a month unexpectedly, and then all of this is wasted.
Well, it's not going to, but yes, 100%.
With this story update, I'm pretty confident that as long as people are collectors and greedy gotcha, I was going to use a word, I'm not going to, we're good. We'll be enjoying LC for a while. Mm-hmm. So I definitely do enjoy the game, and I think they've done, I was talking about it with some people in Discord. Out of all the gotcha games I've played, Last Cloudia, regardless of how long maybe you think it took them, they have addressed a ton of community feedback and things that we've wanted. I'm thinking back to my first ever video, which was like 5 reasons you've never heard of the game, and that was just me going on Reddit and asking people why they felt the game wasn't popular. all of the issues that were touched on in that video have been updated or handled in some way, shape, or form. So I do think, for all my gripes with Adis, and we still have a very long way to go, they have done a good job, for sure.
Yep.
I don't know how I got.
There's still more ways to go, but they have come
plenty ways to go. I think there's I can go into a whole other.
All right. Well, tangent. I think that's it for me in the update now.
That's it. Any other thoughts about your stepsis that you want to give the people?
She's going to be allowing my breaker units to absolutely brutalize almost all content, which I'm very excited about.
Are you going to be focusing on rear damage with her?
In some scenarios, absolutely.
That's fair.
Frontal's also really good for her too, right? Her one passive.
That's right. That's right.
Frontal. She does well frontal or rear damage. So she's very versed.
So look out for those videos on Tweacz' channel.
I'm friggin' dead.
And I think that's all we got for you this time.
Swimsuit Mia next summer.
Ooh. Listen. Let's calm down, Tweacz.
You know what we talked about would be hilarious if they literally just had Mia release right now, and in 2 weeks they just did swimsuit.
They just did swimsuit Mia. That would.
I would die. Oh, that would be great. But
we'll see.
All right. All right, bids.
Am I wrapping it up?
Yeah.
Like, subscribe, bell notifications. If you're new, welcome to the Buddha Gang. Welcome to the POWERCREEP podcast. We try and do this every Thursday on big updates, so make sure to subscribe and turn on all noties so you don't miss it when we go live. Thank you to you guys for being here live. Thank you to my co-host Tweacz for always holding it down and carrying us in his backpack. With all that being said, y'all know what we say: work hard, play hard. See you in the next podcast.